I was scared when I lost my mother, my father, my brother, my sister. Otherwise, no. I guess it's gonna sound kind of weird. I'm not scared for myself for dying. Because I believe all of these is all temporary. This is just one shell. Because we Hawaiian, we live in both worlds. I don't know if you can relate to this. We live on both sides. So it's kind of like if I went now, that's all right. I'll go set the table for you guys. Keep this too hot because we cannot help it, but it's in our veins. It's the cocoa that flow in our body. We cannot help it. Starting all over again, it's gonna be rough for us, but we're gonna make it. Starting all over as friends, it's gonna be tough on us, but we gotta face it. We lost what we had, that would hurt us so bad, set us back 1,000 years, but we gonna make it up. Though I know it's gonna be tough to erase the hurt and fears. Oh, starting all over again, it's gonna be hard, but I pray to the Lord to help us make it. Starting all over again, it's gonna be slow, but we both know.
Paul, we got Paul Aker. Is it pronounced Paul Aker? Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, thanks, Gerry.
Now, Paul and I are just discussing, we are actually neighbors. We both live in Wailuku, and sadly, we've been brought together for some very, very sad reasons. We've got, the focus on today's podcast is really to rally the troops that own Canadian homes in Maui, that have made Maui their second life, or their place that they love. Us personally, we've been going back and forth to Maui since 1980, and we find out that Paul and I are neighbors. So I've got a commitment when all this settles and we get onto the road to recovery. Paul and I will be going to the ale house
That's right.
for a beer and maybe catch up a game and have some of those greasy wings that we've all come to love. But Paul, I appreciate you doing this. So can you give all our Canadian listeners and all the people that love Maui, people that are concerned here in Canada, give us an update on what exactly is going on over there?
So a lot of moving parts, as you can imagine. The status of Lāhainā right now is that there's still a recovery effort underway. This means that the rescue crews and search and rescue crews, along with the federal, local, and state, are all there combing for remains right now. The mayor said yesterday, the police chief said yesterday that he thought that by this coming weekend, about 80% of the recovery would be done. So that is very much active. That means that there's essentially no access to what was Lāhainā for really anybody other than those involved in the recovery effort. Power is being restored to the west side. Yesterday, they restored power through one transmission line of the 3 transmission lines they have. They re-energized the Civic Stadium there, which is an important hub for relief efforts and so forth. So that was important. They're bringing in, I'm talking about Hawaii Electric Company is bringing in a portable substation, according to its CEO yesterday. And of course, the sort of spontaneous efforts, along with organized efforts, but everywhere we're seeing relief efforts, people doing whatever it is they can to try and get aid and support over there. They're transitioning people out of those shelters. They're in the process of that to the hotels there on the west side. So the government is trying to keep people from having to have these extended stays in the shelters there and move them out of those west side pop-up shelters that they had there. I think Maui Prep was one of them. So that's sort of it in a nutshell. I can tell you that they still have some fires going. Some they just have deemed are not really a threat to do any more, damage to structures or people, and they're just kind of letting those burn. The other fires they are working to control, but haven't fully controlled those. And the good news is no new fires have popped up, which at this time of year is frankly a real issue, an ongoing issue. We haven't had any rain. We just haven't had a whole lot of strong winds like we did a week ago.
Paul, I have to say, I didn't give you the proper introduction. I did watch Paul has a service which is called Maui Alert. And last night I watched the presentation with Mayor Bison, Bison, and the police chief was there. Josh Green, who's the governor of Maui, was on that podcast as well. And the fire chief, Brad Ventura, was on that. And John, I think it's Pelletier, I think is the
Peltier is how I pronounce it.
Yes. And then there was also a fellow from the I want to say U.S. Army or Hawaii. It's called 5-0. A fellow named Steve Logan was also on that call. But one of the things that really hit us, as much as all the lost lives and we're devastated. I've been signaling back and forth the island, and I do want to hear more about your story and how long you've been on Maui here. But my wife has always gone to the Hawaii Humane Society, and Lisa was giving her update on all the lost animals and pets and what they're doing and how they're reconnecting those families with their lost pets. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that their family is their pet.
Yeah.
And so that was a very sad side of it. But tell me a little bit more about, I knew that. Now that's got to be a dog or a cat on the back.
There's a cat over my shoulder. He always comes whenever I'm on camera. I don't know. It's like sounding a bell for him.
Okay.
Co-pilot. Sorry.
Well, we don't get to see him because of that Zoom background, but yeah, there he is. Okay, there we are. Now, everybody, I mean, there was one time in our home we had four dogs. Now we're down to a big Bermudoodle that scares everybody. But
yeah, he is definitely my wife and I. We have two cats. They are our children for sure.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more about yourself and Maui Alert and what you do for the Hawaiian people, because the reporting you've done during this tragic event has really caught my attention. So I appreciate it. But tell me more about yourself.
Oh, thanks for the question. Yeah, I was a TV reporter for 20 years. Most recently, the chief investigative reporter in Columbus, in Ohio. Before that, the South Bureau chief in Seattle at King 5. So a lot of background in TV news. On the mainland, as a reporter, I was mostly an investigative reporter. Here, when I got to Maui, I started Maui Alert about 7 years ago, because there was basically no TV news on the island. There is no TV news. It all comes out of Honolulu. And having been in the business for so long, I recognized the importance of being sort of a mirror for the community. Sights and sounds, experiences is what TV brings that print and photos by themselves just don't. A TV camera can really immerse people into the experience, and communities need that. They need that for the good and the bad that happens in their community, so they can examine and hopefully, take civic pride in what's going on, and also help the community grow. So I really felt strongly that that's what the community needed, and they really responded because, frankly, there was still, but for Maui Alert, there are news operations on the island that are mostly kind of press release driven, kind of what's the official word out of here and there, and we do our best to go beyond that.
Well, I appreciate what you do, because, like I say, last night there's so many stories flying around, and in times like this when people are hurt, the emotions run wild, and of course people aren't accurate when they tell their story. But your coverage last night of, I think it was last night, when we mentioned all these people were on giving their briefing. Now, do they do that briefing every day? Is it every couple days, or?
It's sort of ad hoc. It sort of depends. They did one a couple days ago. Was the first one that they announced, and then whenever they get to it again, as basically as developments warrant, I think is kind of how it works. But I've been here. I've covered these news conferences for years, and they don't normally have news conferences, only when major things arise. Obviously, during COVID, we had a lot of news conferences, and then, at some point they were doing them every day, but it just sort of got repetitious, and we were hearing from lots of people that weren't directly impacting the situation. So, we cover those as they warrant, basically, is the bottom line.
Well, it was definitely accurate information when you do get a chance to listen to the mayor and the governor and the police chief, the fire chief, and also and this is a great segue on what I called Paul. Paul was being very good, because the first time we spoke was probably about 33 minutes ago, and I said, oh, by the way, Paul, we want to get you on our podcast. Now, I mentioned to Paul that our motivation is that we want to do as much as we can. The Canadians that have a life in Maui, and we want to make sure that we do the right thing and practice aloha, and pono, do the right thing. But the Red Cross has done a lot of work, and they're on the ground as well too, and in their work, and Canadians
endorsed by the president, endorsed by Barack Obama. I saw yesterday saying, give to the Red Cross. So there you go.
Yeah, and just to add to that is that, the first thing we did was we started sending money out to different businesses that have been very good to us over in Maui. There's a company called Maui Sail that had their boats at the Lāhainā harbor, and also the harbor in Lāhainā. I always butcher Hawaiian names, and I apologize for that. But his staff is out, so we send money directly, and we know that isn't. Canadians will get bigger donations when there's tax receipts attached to it. So there is a tax implication. So we did reach out to the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army is directing everybody to do the Canadian Red Cross, which I spoke to this morning, and we will have someone from the Canadian Red Cross on our podcast over the next couple of days. But for the short-term people, and we'll make this information available to everybody, that you can go to the Canadian Red Cross website and donate money, and that money will make its way to the fire victims and the families that are suffering this terrible loss. So that was our motivation when I called Paul today, because I'm sure it came across as being a cold call, that we're trying to be opportunists, but we're trying to do the right thing here and rally the troops.
And Gerry, if I could just, you don't usually provide a lot of opinion in news gathering. It's just not a good idea. But I would like to thank a lot of the tourists, people that are part-time residents here on the island. Sometimes they get a bad rap. A lot of times, maybe in some people's estimation, too often. But I've seen so many of those people literally leave their vacation to come and help, to give money, to do what they can for people they've never met. And if anything captures the aloha spirit, that would be it.
Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of Canadians are doing. We're hearing that they are giving up their homes so that people can have, like you say, there's been about 4,000 plus people that are homeless, and listening to the conference last night, or the presentation, that there was about 2,000 units made available, maybe hotel rooms or B&B. So yes, this is a terrible event, but Maui is just, once again, is known for their aloha spirit and practicing it. So I think we're very proud. But I think going forward, as tragic as this event is, we look forward to continue to form a relationship with yourself, because you're living my dream, brother. The fact that you left Seattle where it was raining, and we're right above you in Vancouver.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're over there with your wife and your two cats, good for you guys. But I truly want to thank you for your time. I look forward to our relationship going forward, and in every terrible event, there's always a silver lining, and I know we haven't found it yet, but we'll be searching for it. So
yeah, And Gerry, thank you so much. I just wanted to let people know that you can find us on MauiAlert.com. We are not just a social media entity. We have robust coverage there on MauiAlert.com for your audience if they want to check it out.
Well, we'll have lots of fun going forward talking about Maui when this is all said and done. So mahalo and all the best to your family.
Thank you so much, Gerry. Aloha.
Okay, take care.
Way